Hello, everyone. Stephanie Zima here with Walk It Free. And today I want to welcome you to the event, which I will be hosting tonight in person for some people who are coming. However, I'm not really sure yet how I'm going to stream and present at the same time. So to be sure that you get to have all of it, I decided to also pre-record this event and the presentation. So you have everything that you need to hear today if you want to choose this. Okay. So having said that, I am going to share my screen with you, and we are about to get started with, hang on one second. Of course. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Let me share my screen with you now. Okay, and here's the thing. Zoom now does not let me pre-play all of it. I don't know why. For some reason, it stops the screen share. So this is how we are going to do it. Our event today is on overcoming anxiety, a journey toward emotional freedom. Before I'm going to really dive in, I want to let you know a little bit, about me. So I want to welcome you to this event, and I'm Stephanie Zima. I am a certified wellness and transformation coach, as well as Stephen minister at my church. I am a mother of three, a bonus mother of three, an Oma to one. I had a just new grandbaby, a fur mother to a gazillion critters, and a wife, of course. I grew up in Germany as a part of a foster family. I had to adjust to new family members all the time, every 4 to 6 weeks, and moved to a different country, obviously, from Germany to America. Started my life from scratch 3 times over out of various reasons that will take up the whole presentation if I get into it right now. So anxiety was something that was really very often part of my life, of change and uncertainty. And that's why it's so near and dear to my heart to share with all of you today. Currently, in the United States, anxiety affects more than 40 million adults, and that number is only increasing and often highly underreported. But good news, anxiety is not permanent medical condition. Okay, it's just something we all dealing with, and it's not necessarily like anything permanent. So in this presentation, we will be going over ways that will help you heal, connect, and level up your present state of being. You all know I'm all about Walk It Free, founder of Walk It Free, where we heal, connect, and level up. And anxiety is one of the symptoms that we need to heal, and that will help us with connection and leveling up every area of our life, whether or not it is our work, our relationships, or finances, any of that kind of stuff. So the agenda items that we're going to go over today in this presentation is, first, we're going to start by understanding anxiety. Then we kind of going over facts and figures, causes of anxiety, signs and symptoms, impact of anxiety. We're going to debunk some of the myths about anxiety. We're going to deal with some coping mechanisms and treatment options. And I'm going to give you some strategies of self-care and management. And then, like later on, you can ask me any questions that you may have. Okay, so let's get started. What is anxiety? Understanding anxiety. So the definition of anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Desire to do something, typically accompanied by unease, like we're feeling uneasy about something. And in the psychiatry, it's defined as a mental condition characterized by excessive apprehensiveness about real or perceived threats. So real or perceived threats, typically leading to avoidant behaviors and often physical symptoms such as increased heart rate and muscle tension. So there are different types of anxiety disorders. So the 5 most common ones are generalized anxiety disorder. People with GAD feel excessive anxiety or worry on most days for at least 6 straight months. Then there's panic disorder, there's obsessive compulsive disorder, there's phobia disorders, and there's post-traumatic stress disorder. So that's very technical, right? So when we talk about the general anxiety, how does it affect our brains and our functions? Anxiety will put our body into a fight, flight, or freeze response. It will trigger our sympathetic nervous system, your fight and flight response. Danger or stress activates your sympathetic nervous system, which can cause several things to happen in your body. We're going to go over this a little bit later. But when you look at your brain, the anxious brain, so when you look at this picture here, the prefrontal cortex is involved in logical responses and reasoning. Anxiety can shut down the prefrontal cortex, hampering logical thinking and rationalizing. Then you have your anterior cingulate cortex, which amplifies fear signals from the amygdala. In anxiety disorders, malfunctions, ACC hyperactivates the amygdala. So the amygdala is responsible for responses for fearful stimuli. In persistent anxiety, the amygdala increases in size, boosting response to scary stimuli. So when you hear this, I want you to hear and understand that when you have anxiety, it's a real thing. People can actually see it on scans of the brain because the amygdala will get larger in this. And when the amygdala gets larger, it dampens, it will take out the prefrontal cortex, the logical thinking and rationalizing. So it'll just kind of get off balance on here. So the worldwide impact of anxiety disorder, according to the World Health Organization, 3.6%, about 265 million individuals worldwide have an anxiety disorder. Additionally, 4.6% of females and 2.6% of males globally are affected by anxiety. So that's really interesting. When you think about it, more women are dealing with anxiety than men, actually. So why did I share this with you? I want you to know you are not alone. If you're feeling anxiety, you are not alone, okay? So many people are dealing with this. The causes of anxiety the main causes of anxiety are usually difficult experiences in childhood or adolescence or even in adulthood. Going through stress and trauma when you're very young is likely to have a particular big impact. Experiences which can trigger anxiety problems include things like physical or emotional abuse. Does that not mean that all being abused and that's why we are all dealing with anxiety? No. So if you are dealing with anxiety, it does not mean that you have to have had abuse, okay? But we are dealing with excessive stress. We are dealing with some trauma. We are dealing with a whole variety of things that are very complex per people, for all the different people. And that's why it's difficult and hard to identify without the help of professionals. But we'll get into this a little bit later. Okay, so anxiety really is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it really doesn't get you very far, right? I mean, who here has ever felt like this? Like if you're dealing with anxiety, right? It's always there. And it's like, giving you something to do. Your brain constantly goes, but it doesn't get you anywhere. You are like the hamster in the wheel. So the general anxiety disorder symptoms can really vary. They include persistent worrying about a number of areas that are out of control, out of proportion to the impact of the events. What does that mean? So you're blowing up situations, like you're blowing up things that are happening in your life, right? And that's like when you overthink them, when they're constantly going in your brain, that's when you are like persistently worry about it and you make them bigger than they really actually are. Overthinking plans and solutions to all possible worst case outcomes, like what's the worst thing that can happen to us, for example. Perceiving situations and events as threatening, even when they aren't. difficult handling and uncertainty. So when you are going into a situation, and I think this is like a lot of people are having this, they are very having a hard time with uncertainty. And that's why COVID had been such a problem, or, middle school children, or children going into schools, or new people with new jobs, or stay-at-home moms, you are going to back into workforce, all these things. People have difficulty handling uncertainty. And I think that's quite normal also. Indecisiveness and fear of making the wrong decisions, inability to set aside and let go of worry, inability to relax, feeling restless and feeling keyed up on the edge, difficulty concentrating, or feeling that your mind just goes blank. Those are symptoms of anxiety. Physical symptoms may include fatigue, people who are constantly tired. It could be a sign of anxiety, trouble sleeping, muscle tension, muscle aches, trembling, feeling twitchy, nervousness, or being easily startled, sweating, nausea, diarrhea, or irritable bowel system syndrome can actually come from anxiousness. And when you have got issues already, when you're anxious, it just makes it so much more. And irritability. So symptoms in children and teenagers are slightly different. Children and teenagers may have similar worries to adults, but they also have excessive worries about performances at school and sporting events, families, members' safety, being on time, being punctual, earthquakes and nuclear war or other catastrophic events. They worry about this constantly. And a child or a teen with excessive worry may feel anxious, overly anxious to fit in, be a perfectionist, redo tasks that they aren't perfect the first time, spend excessive time doing homework, lack of confidence, strive for approval, require a lot of reassurance about performances, and have frequent stomach aches and physical complaints, avoid going to school, avoid social situations. Those things are showing up more and more in children. So when you think about this, you're hearing all this information, right? What do all of these have in common? It's a lack of clarity. Okay, it's a lack of clarity. Lack of clarity. Questions. Am I being loved? Am I having enough? Am I wanted? Am I good enough? Am I safe? Do I have what it takes? When you review, and I'm going to jump back here, when you review these topics here, persistent worrying about a number of areas, okay? This could be worrying about things like these. Am I loved? Am I enough? Am I wanted? Does my partner want me? Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to do the job? Am I safe? Am I financially safe? All these things, right? Overthinking plans, every single thing that you kind of see on these topics here, difficulty handling, certainty, everything boils back down to a lack of clarity if you really take a look at it. These questions that are happening. So anxiety impacts every area of your life. Unfortunately, it impacts relationships, finances, the quality of your life in current and future generations. So debunking the myth about anxiety, I felt, was really important, because some people think that anxiety is a disease. Anxiety is caused by your genetics, and you inherited this destiny from your parents or your grandparents, which in that case, I want to talk about it a little bit later, because I do believe it's not necessarily inherited, because inherited would mean that you are not able to change it, but it is taken on possibly by someone in your generation, or in your parents, or anything like that. If you have anxiety, you are broken and there's something wrong with you. Some people believe that, which is a myth, right? That's not true. Anxiety only affects lazy or weak or undisciplined people. If you're anxious, you're broken and there's something wrong with you. If you're anxious, you're probably hiding something from your loved ones, from God, or yourself. What is the matter with you? Chill out and quit acting like nervous and fidgety and worried all the time. Anxiety is just stress, and we all worry about it. Get over it. I mean, how many times do we hear these things, right? People with anxiety probably just want attention. Yeah, I heard that before. Anxiety can be fixed with yoga, breathing, and better attitudes. Yep, that is out there too. And anxiety can only be cured through medicine, which unfortunately seems to be very often the quick fix that people are jumping into. But we need to know that anxiety is real, and it's a serious condition that deserves attention and care. People are not machines to be fixed, computers to be rewired, or puzzles to be solved. People are relational beings. We are vastly complex organisms that made up for living with connection, thoughts and feelings, and charged with electricity and water, and highly impacted by internal and external environments. So that's why anxiety can't be reduced to simple genetics or diseases. So coping mechanisms and treatment options, right? So because everybody wants to know, what are we going to do? How can we fix us? How can we get rid of this? Yada, yada, yada. So one of the treatment options, among others, is behavioral therapy, medications, and lifestyle changes, the most common ones, right? So cognitive behavioral coaching techniques are most often used by professionals. Professional can be a therapist, it can be a coach, such a health coach, wellness coach, transformation coaches, somebody like me, for example, and can be hugely beneficial to overcome anxiety. So I use behavioral coaching techniques in my mentorship clients, and anybody I coach, because it's just so beneficial to every area and aspect of life. The difference between a coach, in case you're wondering, the difference between a coach and a therapist is, in this manner, mainly is the therapists usually focus on the past, while the coaches typically focus on putting the future action into play. So some people who had therapy previously can try to coach themselves, right? They can remember those questions asked and they can try to apply this to themselves. But generally speaking, it is important to seek professional help to overcome your anxiety and to reframe your thoughts, patterns, and control your environment, so it can be a healthy one. Strategies towards emotional freedom. Figure out where your anxiety is coming from. We discovered earlier that a lack of clarity is often at fault when we feel anxiety. So, the lack of clarity, right? The questions I was asking before, right? The questions like, am I feeling safe? Am I feeling loved? Am I feeling wanted? Am I good enough? Am I having what it takes, right? Am I having what it takes? Where was I? Those are the questions, right? Those are the questions. So in action steps, figure out, what do you feel unsure about? What are you missing? What are you unsure about? What area of your life? What skill? Take a minute, pause this video if you're watching this on the video now. Pause this video and write that down. Do that action step and write it down. Write down what it is that you're feeling insecure. Remember the questions. Am I loved? Am I enough? Am I wanted? Am I good enough? Am I safe? Do I have what it takes? Which one of these rings true for your anxiety? What was your environment like, right? What is it like now? And when I say environment, I mean, what are your circumstances? What is your home like? What is your job like? What is, where you are physically at? What is it like now? Your attachment styles, and I don't know if you have heard this before, but your attachment styles also may trigger anxiety. So the overview of attachment styles, okay, there are two different ways. Secure attachment styles, they allow people to feel safe and supported in a respectful relationship. And then there's anxious, ambivalent attachments. This attachment style is marked by anxiety and stress regarding the relationships, which results in constant need for reassurance. Anxious styles, also known as preoccupied attachment disorder, typically develops in early childhood and is thought to be a consequence of a relationship with primary caregivers, usually parents. Sorry, I had to like put my doggy down because now she's awake. Okay, so here are several factors that can contribute to the development of anxious attachment styles. Inconsistent parenting is if a child's parent or primary caregiver are inconsistently available or unpredictable, the child may become anxious attached. This could mean the caregiver is sometimes very attentive and loving, but other times neglectful or unavailable. This unpredictability can lead to anxiety as the child never knows what to expect. Now, before you're going to go into a whole shame cycle of, oh my gosh, I am an inconsistent parent, I am not able to do any of these things, I want you to know that it can be literally as simple as you are vacuuming and your child is sitting at the side of the, in a playpen, and you are preoccupied in your brain with things that you are worrying about, and the kid is going to look at you and you are not making eye contact. So your inconsistent parenting is something that can be very, very innocently happening without you being conscious. And the purpose here of me talking about this is not to make you feel that you should be like, it's not here. I'm not here to trigger your shame. I'm here to make you aware so you have choices. Okay. When you are aware of something, you can actually make a change. So that's the inconsistent parenting that can trigger an anxious attachment style. Emotional neglect and abuse, obviously, separation anxiety, early and prolonged separations from the primary caregiver, particularly when the separation is traumatic or not properly explained to the child. Like if somebody had an accident, and the mom had to be in the hospital or, something, so the separation anxiety. It can be overbearing parenting. Paradoxically, parents who are over-involved and protective may also raise children with anxious attachment styles. And now when you are reflecting on how are you parenting, are you the helicopter mom? Are you constantly overbearing? Are you constantly over the child? Are you trying to make these things? And I tell you one thing, I was guilty of overbearing parenting, probably because when I was raising my children, or I still am raising my children, but in the very early times, I was literally by myself very often. So I had to do a lot of things for them because it was easier for me, So I want you to know here, and I want you to hear that these things are literally just clues that you need to hear that and reflect upon of what it is in your life that you're possibly dealing that can cause and trigger anxiety in you or your child. Okay. So overbearing parenting. A child is never allowed to explore independently or experience manageable amount of risks. They may grow to believe that the world is a dangerous place and that they're incapable of navigating it on their own. Okay. Parental anxiety or mental health issues, of course, right? Parents who themselves struggle with anxiety or other mental health issues might unintentionally pass on anxious behaviors to their children. Yes, we are the leader of our pack. So kids are watching our ways of behaving. Instability and trauma, of course, major life changes, instability of traumatic events such as divorce, death, and family. All of these things can actually have an impact on it. So remember that attachment styles are not set in stone, okay? And it can change over time. Individuals with an anxious attachment style who seeks therapy or coaching or secure supportive relationships, okay, with a partner or friends or anything like that, can learn healthier ways to relate to others and develop a more secure attachment style. So this is not a doom and gloom situation. This is not like, oh, if this rings true for you, out of the sudden you are never going to be able to change. No, absolutely not. all it says, it's reflect on your own situation, and everyone is different. That's what makes anxiety so, so tricky, okay? Even if you had the secure attachment, you can experience anxiety. With the current changes in our environment, like COVID, had everyone feeling pretty insecure, right? About almost everything. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know if the vaccine is right, if the no vaccine is right. We had no idea. The rug was pulled under our feet, and most people were pretty insecure about every single thing that was going on. Adults, children, everyone, and even if you're pretty healthy adults, it may have caused an anxious attachment in your children. It's just what is, okay? It's just okay. Don't panic. Anxiety is not permanent. As discussed previously, it can be dealt with, okay? So, action steps again. Things to ask yourself. What are you feeling uncertain about? Where are you lacking clarity? And where does your anxiety show up? Reflect. That's your first step. Reflect. Become clear, right? Clarity is always everything. Clarity. Action step 2, reflect. What types of attachments did you have? So first, what are you uncertain about? Second, what attachment style did you have? Was it secure? Was it unsecure? And action step 3 today is check your environment. Do you have lots of support? Do you feel secure? Are you financially stable? Are you secure for the future? Meaning you have your retirement in order. Are you feeling loved, valued, and respected? See, we are dealing with this anxiety and this anxious feelings, and we do not know where to start. This is where you start. Okay, this is where you start. This is where you need to answer these questions, and become aware that if your environment is out of whack, if you're worried about your financial future, if you're worried about feeling loved, if you're worried about feeling respected and valued, if you're worried about those things, then of course you will deal with anxiety. Now, if you just take medication to try to make those things go away, guess what? That's not doing it. It's masking the behavior. It will mask the behavior with we try to mask the behavior with numbing activities such as binge watching or overeating or doing sexual activities or any of these other things that are numbing the pain that we are really feeling, but it's not changing anything, permanently, because we haven't answered these questions and found solutions to this environmental problem. Okay, so this is a start, guys. Obviously, I can't go into like full depth with everyone. That's why I have a mentorship program that helps every individual person to go through whatever they are anxious about and they are feeling about. If you want information on that, please reach out to me or look on my website. www.walkitfree.com. There are different actions, there are different ways, or you just get in contact with me and we can talk one-on-one and see if we would be a fit. But that's the start, right? Do those 3 action steps so you have an idea as to what you need to do and where you need to get started with. Okay. So start analyzing if you could benefit from coaching or therapy. Again, coaching focuses more on action steps going forward. So I personally find it helpful managing and dealing with anxiety of all sorts, right? That's just what I feel like. Dealing with our paradigms, our subconscious belief systems that are constantly running in one way, running in the background, that are constantly running in the background, and is one way of dealing with the anxiety. So that's what we're doing in coaching, by the way. We're dealing and identifying what our paradigm is, what is our subconscious belief system, to answer these questions. So if you have trouble answering these questions, right, it's probably because your fear, your scaredness, your anxiousness, your things are in your subconscious belief system, in your paradigm. Identifying your triggers by observing what the parasympathetic nervous system does is another angle of discovering what really is going on. That means, so you go over a period of time and you kind of like start becoming aware of when are you going into fight, flight, or freeze response. What is happening for you? But we cannot forget also the importance of our lifestyle. So our gut-brain axis also plays a big, huge role. Okay. And having said that, I am going to transition now into the healthy side of things. And give me 1 second. I will pull up my second presentation because, you know, the circumstances is one thing. Okay, circumstances is one thing, but we also need to identify the fact that our environment, meaning our food intake and our gut health, actually has an impact on it. So again, what is anxiety, right? It's a sense of panic and being in danger. It's irritable, it's trouble sleeping, it's unable to concentrate. We can't stop worrying about it. We are nervous. You know, we have all these feelings about it. It impacts everything. It impacts our mental health, our relationships, work, school, everything, right? The physical symptoms, headaches, sweating, difficulty sleeping. You know, we've gone over this. If you feel anxious, you know these things. You have trouble concentrating, you feel restless, you feel dread, you have trouble expressing your emotions, you avoid social situations. So the social anxiety aspect of things, you know, which makes it then really, really difficult to perform at work or school, or leading to decreased productivity and missing deadlines, all those things. It's really rough. It's really rough. Okay. But here's the thing, gut health is closely linked to anxiety and other mental issues, and people are just not aware of it. Studies have found that an unhealthy gut microbiome, which a microbiome is everything in your body, right, is associated with increased levels of anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. This is because the gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, which are important for regulating mood and emotions. Additionally, an unhealthy gut microbiome can lead to an increase in inflammation, which is known to be a contributing factor to anxiety and other mental health issues. To improve gut health and reduce anxiety, it is important to eat a balanced diet that includes probiotics, prebiotics, and fermented foods. Additionally, reducing the stress levels, getting regular exercise, and getting enough sleep are important for maintaining a healthy gut microbiome and managing your anxiety. So serotonin, dopamine, right? This is because the gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine. So serotonin regulates the mood, tells the brain it feels good, I've had enough, hinders impulsive behavior, and deficiency may cause increased aggression and suicidal behaviors even. So serotonin, if you have enough, pay attention to this. It hinders impulsive behavior. Now take a look at what we were talking about, your environment, the way how you're thinking, all this stuff that you're doing, your behaviors. What is it doing? Are you having impulsive behaviors? Are you dealing with binge eating? Are you dealing with binging, binging Netflix, any of those kind of things? Chances are, if you do, you are not having enough serotonin that are hindering that impulsive behavior. Dopamine regulates your motivation. Okay, it tells your brain this is feeling good, I want more, so I feel good. That's why we're addicted to our phones, because we are looking at this and every like and everything says, oh, yes, 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 somebody loves me, somebody approves of me, somebody likes me, somebody, right? Those things trigger the dopamine. It establishes reward pathways. Okay, deficiency may cause a lack of motivation and muscle tremors. That is so interesting. When you find it out, dopamine, the lack thereof, can cause muscle tremors. Okay. Okay, so inflammation is obviously a root cause, right? Additionally, an unhealthy gut microbiome can lead to an increase of inflammation, which is known to be a contributing factor for anxiety and other mental health issues. So body pain, fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, and mood disorders, GI issues such as constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, weight gain, weight loss, frequent infections, those are signs of your body being inflamed. Okay. What happens when your body is inflamed? It will cause stress. It will trigger your anxiety and depression. It will give you a leaky gut. You will develop autoimmune diseases, and you might have brain fogs. Where does that come from, right? High sugars, always tired, can't focus, migraines, metabolic syndrome, acne, rosacea. All these things are like, are coming from inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause here. What causes inflammation that leads to your anxiety? Now pay attention. It's long-term exposure to irritant and toxins, certain medications, poor diets, stress, and infections. So long-term exposure to irritant and toxins. And you might say, oh, I'm not taking any, I'm not exposed to any toxins. I'm not having any of those things. Yes, you are. You have toxins in almost everything that you come in contact with. It's unfortunate. You might ask, should I take supplements when I can just eat healthy and have a better lifestyle, right? Because I also sell supplements, and I always talk about the supplements and why do I love the supplements. You can just eat healthy, right? I mean, that would be a valid question people are asking, but you can't, because you need to detox your body in addition to giving the right amounts of probiotics and prebiotics. Okay, your microbiome is not where it's supposed to be because of these toxins that are coming into our world, right? Into our physical world and our physical environment. We have a mental environment, we have a physical environment, we have a microbiome that's also your environment. Okay. When I said earlier, you have to be clear and get your clarity, and you need to check your environment, you also need to check your microbiome. That is your energetically being. So that microbiome has to also be checked and detoxed, okay? The main toxins today include air pollutants. These include ozone, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitric oxide, and particulate matters. Water pollutants, okay? Heavy metals, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, industrial chemicals. Chemical pollutants, chlorine, lead, mercury, PCBs, radiation pollutants, x-rays, gamma rays, and ultraviolet. I mean, it's like there's a gazillion pollutions out there, toxins out there, biological pollutions. I can't even say these things. Include bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, all these things. You can't get away from them, right? It's estimated that over 42 million Americans suffer from constipation. 42 million people suffer from constipation. Pay attention to this, okay? 42 millions. What does constipation have to do with anxiety, you might ask? Yeah, good question. There is the gut-brain connection I talked earlier about, okay? So the gut and brain connection, okay? So you have positive mental health, right? You need vegetables, you fiber, supplements, fermented foods, anti-inflammatory, omega-3, and all that stuff, so that, you put that in, and then whoop, it goes into your brain, and you have positive mental health. Poor mental health, you have fast food, sugars, high sugar processed foods, all these things, and they cause your gut to have inflammation, and that triggers the poor mental health. Okay. What can we do? So I'm going to go a little bit into the supplements that I represent. And again, it's not something that you have to do. It's not something that, you can do other supplements. Those are the ones that I have been using for 6 years. I love them. They have done tremendous impact on my health as well as anybody I come in contact with. They're just amazing. So you make your choice, right? I mean, this is not something that I'm going to push on anybody, but you make your choice. If you want more information on that, please do not order online just by that. There are coachings available. And, when I talked about the coaches, people who are ordering supplements, they are also becoming, they also have wellness coaching when they order through me or anyone in my team. That is complimentary as part of their VIP. So don't just go and order on Google or there, because it's not a standard thing. It's just that I happen to believe that it's a whole body, mind, and soul approach that really serves the human beings, right? And so to overcome anxiety, you do need to see the whole person. Okay. You see the whole person, and this gut health, the supplements, is just one part of being the whole person. Not everyone who is working with plexus is feeling the same way. So that's why if you hear this, if you watch this, if you see this, if you think this makes sense for you, please reach out to me or somebody who invited you to this event or shared this with you, and let them know that you might be interested in that. And then we can go from there. Okay. So now, what can we do to improve our gut health? Meet the triplex system. So this product is not your average weight loss supplement. This pink drink improves your gut health by helping beneficial microbes thrive, supporting a healthy glucose metabolism, and promoting weight loss naturally. And it tastes delicious. Okay, there's multiple different flavors you can have. We can talk about it. Don't be shy. Please just ask the question. Okay. All right. Feeling full of these days. Yep. Constipation. We talked about it. So many people are dealing with this, but nobody really wants to talk about it. But constipation is having you feel kind of sluggish. Yeah. BioCleanse helps get your digestion on track and speeding up your reduction of unwanted microbes and substances to support your body's natural cleansing process. Okay. This is all natural stuff. So again, ask me anything you have, but those are the systems. This is the system, the products and the system. So the probiotic piece, what makes our probiotics so different? Okay. And just really pay attention here. Not every probiotic is the same. Okay. This one helps you keep intestinal yeast in balance. It helps support a healthy intestinal tract, support healthy digestion, improves natural response to imbalances, promotes healthy bacteria, promotes healthy source of antioxidants, contains vitamin C to support immune function, so on and so forth. Now, if you say, well, don't worry about it, Stephanie, I'm taking a probiotic with my yogurt, just remember that if something has to be refrigerated and you consume it, by the time it hits your hot body, these probiotics are dead by the time they get and reach your gut. Our probiotics are time released, and they will work when they need to, when they get there. Okay. The portion of the gut health system really is the wheat, seed, and feed system, and it's a game changer. It's having you feeling better from digestive issues. Even the shame of running to the bathroom, feeling bloated all the time, feeling free and clean and ready to enjoy all the time is our goal, right? That is the triplex system. Okay. So having said that, another product that I want to highlight here today is the vital biome, especially if you're dealing with anxiety. The vital biome helps reduce feelings of stress and nervousness and tension. It's also a probiotic, but it has different strains in it than the probiotic, Probio 5. It helps reduce occasional gastrointestinal discomfort, and it stabilizes stress hormones and promotes relaxation, supports a healthy immune system, all the things. So I think it's worth to try. All of these products have 60-day money back guarantee. all of these products come, if you order through my team, meaning Walk It Free, right? Heal, Connect, and Level Up. You will get coaching. You will get support. You will have a community. You will have opportunity to deal with to heal your gut, your mind, your body, your soul through connections and friendships and like-minded people that are all here to do the same thing, improving their lifestyle. Okay, this is what it is. If you are like, there's multiple different options that you can go about it, and it all depends on what your unique situation is. Where are you dealing with it? Is it a health problem for you? Is your lifestyle needing to have some improvement? Is it your environment that needs to have some improvement? Is it your thoughts that are needing some improvement? Do you need to learn a little bit more about attachment styles, about your paradigm, about the things that you can control? That is what you need to reflect on, and then reach out and have a conversation. That's all I'm asking. Reach out and have a conversation, because too many, as you know, are suffering with anxiety, and it is not a permanent situation. It is not something that you need to deal with for the rest of your life, and it surely is not something that you need to numb out and just suffer the consequences. Okay, children, if they have they're recovering from the uncertainty, the uncertain environments that COVID brought with them. Mothers are trying to cope with being at home and dealing with this. No one is at fault. Okay, and I want to close out this presentation here with this. No one is at fault. No one is at fault with this. You are not at fault. Your children are not at fault. Your parents are not at fault. No one is at fault. It just is. Certain circumstances just are. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you can't take responsibility and change and grow and do things. That's the beauty about personal development. That's the beauty about healing. That's the beauty about walking things free. Identifying what is it and getting after it. Okay, changing it, improving it, making it in a certain way. That's what it's all about. And I cannot wait to answer your questions. I cannot wait to be working with you in one way, shape, or form. I mean, I have options available from $5 a month for somebody who wants to just have some coaching, to $2,500 full coaching programs, mentorship programs, to supplements, literally any budget. So it's about what you need. It's not like about what I want to sell you. No, it's about what you need and how we can help you feel better and have everyone around you feel better too. Because, if it starts with you and everything gets trickled down, right? Rippled down to everyone that comes in contact with you. And creating wins, and wins is absolutely the goal here. So I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know in the comments. Please share this with anybody who needs to know this. Please remember to always ask me when you want to do and be involved with the gut health supplements. Do not just go, it's the microbiomes, just as your anxiety, is so different per person, and you have to have coaching with it. You have to have someone teaching you and helping you, because the dosages on these products are not the same for anyone. Okay, it's really individual. That's why they are being distributed in an MLM style, in a network marketing style, not because it's a pyramid scheme or we are trying to hustle people into anything. No, it is because they need and require the personal contact with the humans. Okay, you don't have that when you buy supplements in a store, when you buy it at Walmart, when you buy it at CVS or Walgreens. You do not have the personal contact. You need to have the personal contact, and that's why Plexus has decided to distribute their products on a network marketing system, because that's how you can ensure that everyone is being helped and the way they need to. Okay, all right, I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.